Did Richard manage to break Modern? Well, today we're going to try his mid-range deck that looks like Mosswood Dreadknight hopped into a time machine back to 2015 and somehow found its way into an Abzan list with Siege Rhinos and Tarmogoyf, so let's find out. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Much Abrew About Nothing. So if you listen to the MTG Goldfish podcast, you probably remember Richard recently talking about trying to break Modern with Mosswood Dreadknight in a Jundish mid-range style shell. Well, I got the infamous deck list straight from Richard, and today we're going to try to find out if Richard really did break Modern with a deck that looks like Mosswood Dreadknight hopped into a time machine back to 2015 and found its way into an Abzan deck with Tarmogoyfs and Siege Rhinos. But anyway, let's talk about this ridiculous list, jump into a Modern League, and see if Richard actually broke it. So creature-wise, we have our one big new addition to the deck, Mosswood Dreadknight, which is apparently the upgraded Dark Confidant / Bloodbraid Elf, generating card advantage, adding a body, maybe repeatedly to the battlefield. The rest of the creatures in the deck honestly looks like 2015 Abzan. Scavenging Ooze to exile the graveyard, Tarmogoyf to be big potentially, Siege Rhino because no one expects it to come down and drain them in 2024. Like, Siege Rhino hasn't seen play in so long, but it's got trample, it's got a big body, and offers some direct damage and life gain. So that's our creature base. Backing up our creatures, we have a couple of pretty old school planeswalkers, Liliana the Veil and Liliana the Last Hope. Liliana the Veil, you probably know this one, like it's a very good card, attacking opponents' hands against control and combo, dealing with a board against creature decks. Liliana the Last Hope, it's very grindy. It's good for sniping 1 toughness creatures. Also can -2 to like get creatures back from the graveyard. So if we're trying to play a long grindy game, which this deck definitely is, Liliana's right at home there. Then we have the classic Jund style discard, Inquisition of Kozilek Thoughtseize to strip apart our opponent's hand. For removal, Fatal Push, Prismatic Ending, Vindicate, which can hit lands, which is relevant against like Amulet Titan or Tron. And then Crime Punishment looks pretty weird, but the punishment side, for 2 mana, blows up any number of Crashing Footfalls tokens, deals with Ursa Saga, so there's actually a lot of flexibility there. As far as the mana base, pretty typical Modern stuff, except for Restless Cottage is a creature land. In the sideboard, a bunch of graveyard hate, Collective Brutality to deal with our opponent's hand, Terrace Under Cleftroof for the 1-ring, Necromentia, Archon of Emeria for combo, and that is Richard's infamous Mosswood Dreadknight Abzan deck. That's our Bunch of Brew deck for today, so let's jump into a league and see if this pile that honestly for the most part looks like a 2015 deck can actually keep up in Modern thanks to the power of Mosswood Dreadknight of all things. Thanks for watching everyone, enjoy the gameplay, and I'll be back in a bit for the wrap up. Need some magic cards? Well, you can snag them from our sponsor Card Kingdom over at cardkingdom.com/mtggoldfish. We've got new tokens and playmats, and you can even get the tokens signed if you want. Check them all out over at mtggoldfishmerch.com. We are trying to figure out if Richard actually managed to break Modern with a Mosswood Dreadknight and Siege Rhino. So we're on the play. I think this is fine. This is a very Jund hand. Would Richard keep this? I think the answer is yes. We have turn 2 Tarmogoyf. Got him. Not even big enough to survive a Bowmaster. Double Planeswalker, though, is sweet. We'll see. That hand seems like it can grind. We'll see. Ooh, opponent. Verdant Catacombs. Oh, no. Are we getting Thoughtseized? Blood Crypt. All right. Looks like Rakdos. And Ragavan. All right. Well, so there's a world where we play Tarmogoyf. The problem is, all right, so our dream world is we play Tarmogoyf. It trades with Ragavan. Yeah, we really don't want to get hit by this. All this is we'd like to snipe the Ragavan with Liliana, but I don't know if we have that luxury. So I think we actually just have to Prismatic Ending the Ragavan. We really don't want to get hit by the Ragavan. Play the Blooming Marsh. This sets us up for, depending on what our opponent does, one of our 2 Planeswalkers next turn, and then the real reason I'm playing this deck is Siege Rhino, of course. Okay, Cycle's a troll, sure. Don't scam us, bro. Okay, this is actually the dream. So opponent plays another Ragavan. Oh, all right, no longer the dream. Well, I mean, this is actually kind of fine. Opponent can't scam. So the dream is Liliana to snipe the Ragavan. Worst case, though, if they take the Liliana, then we snipe it with other Liliana. I mean, this is actually pretty good for us. Opponent went 2 for 1. 2 for 1, no scam grief, and we have a way to kill the Ragavan. All right, they take The Liliana that is best at killing Ragavan. It still dies, though. It does still die. We could draw a removal spell. Siege Rhino. All right, well, play a forest. 1, 2, 3. Liliana. I mean, we're still in don't get hit by the dirty monkey mode. Get rid of Ragavan. All right, well, we've gone through 2 Ragavans, and we're land away from double siege. Where's our Panharmonicon? Richard. Richard, don't you know how to siege Rhino? There's supposed to be Panharmonicons involved. Ragavan number 3, gonna do some dashing. Well, that is annoying. What are the odds of drawing triple Ragavan? Oh, they're gonna kill a Liliana. Okay, that makes sense. Well, they don't get a treasure. They pick up the Ragavan. We draw. I think we just play the Tarmogoyf. Should have tapped differently. I was thinking we were gonna play the Scavenging Ooze. The problem is, Goyf dies to Fatal Push. Ooze dies to Fatal Push and Bolt. Do the Voidwalker Ragavan. I mean, Voidwalker is annoying. We would love to just draw land for the Siege Rhino. That would be the dream. That would be the dream. We draw land for Siege Rhino. Vindicate. We can Vindicate the Voidwalker and pass. We can play Scavenging Ooze. You know what? Let's just play the Ooze. I think that's fine. Let's play the Ooze. Opponent going to crack the Bloodstain Maya. Blood Crypt. Tapped. Do we go aggro with the Goyf, though? So we get in for 4. Opponent goes to 10. They didn't have removal last turn. They could have Bolt. Yeah, I mean, I think 4 is enough. We got to do it. We're winning the race right now. Like, opponent's down to 10. So the nightmare here is they find a way to kill the Ooze, and then they get in with a Ragavan and hit something good. Although I guess a Ragavan hit on turn 5 is a lot easier to overcome than a Ragavan hit on turn 2. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Okay, well, that doesn't let the Ragavan get in, so that's fine. Eventually, we are going to draw a land for the Siege Rhino, and Siege Rhinos actually seems absurd here. So opponent hits us to 17. Guess we just eat the Grief? I don't think, well, actually, let's eat the Troll. They could have random reanimation since they're playing Troll. All right, come on, deck, come on. Land. Inquisition. See if our opponent feels the need to start blocking here. Opponent gonna block the Goyf. Sure. Drops to 7. I think we just Vindicate the Ragavan. This does give our opponent Vindicate if they want to sack their Voidwalker. Sooner or later, we're gonna draw land and Siege Rhino our way to victory here, right? Like, that's gotta happen. Whoa, keeps whatever they drew. A Trumpeting Carnosaur to kill the Ooze. All right, and now they're gonna kill the Goyf. Well, can we draw land? Can we draw land for the Siege Rhino? Opponent cracks the Bloodstained Mire to thin the deck. Land. All right, there it is. Okay, Windswept Teeth. Crack Windswept Teeth. That's what we're looking for. I think we just take an Overgrown Tube, untapped. Green, black, white, and whatever. Siege Rhino in 2024, technically. Down to 3. And our opponent needs to deal with the Rhino and Thoughtseize us, or else Siege Rhino number 2 gets the job done. 2023 Modern, ladies and gentlemen. Double Siege Rhino for the win. About it. Are we passing? Well, I mean, I guess just casting 2 Siege Rhinos is kind of like having a Panharmonicon. Siege Rhino? I wonder what opponents think when they die to Siege Rhino in Modern in 2023. All right, so opponent's playing Rakdos. Rakdos scam, I guess. Like, Archon of Emeria technically answers it. It's just so slow. Nile Spellbomb's too slow. Can probably go down the crime punishments. For what, though, is the question. Exile target non-land permanent, mana value 1. So it gets Ragavan. I mean, we don't really have a way to stop the scamming, right? There's no just like off button. Maybe we're just pretty well set up to grind as it is. I could say like maybe Ashiok's okay. Archon does shut down the scam eventually. I mean, I really do want to cut the crime punishments. Maybe we go like 1 Nile Spellbomb. This is just 4 mana exile something. That's so much mana. What about Brutality? Brutality might be worth it. Brutality kills Voidwalker too, right? And Bowmaster. Actually, maybe that's just better than Nile Spellbomb. All right, well, so far so good. Siege Rhino power. I mean, also we avoided getting scammed, which is probably the best news. Well, we got a Dreadknight. We will keep this. The only downside of this hand is if our opponent has turn 1 Ragavan, we can't kill it until turn 2 Blood Crypt untapped. Oh, we getting scammed. All right. Well, we didn't get Ragavan on turn 1. Now we just got to beat a Grief. Opponent takes the Vindicate. That's our most obvious answer. Whoa! No scam? Oh, we are going to get Ragavan. Okay. I mean, opponent's just going down so many cards. That was a 2-card Thoughtseize. Fatal Bush. Marsh Flats. I mean, I think we just have to Thoughtseize. Yeah, let's Thoughtseize. We can't stop the Ragavan hit, but we can Thoughtseize. Molten Collapse, Fable the Mirrorbreaker, Sheoldred. Yeah, let's take Fable. So this kind of is a bummer. We are going to get hit by this Ragavan. But in theory, next turn, we can Brutality the Ragavan and take the Molten Collapse, and our opponent only has 1 land. So it's a big Ragavan hit. If they can hit like a Thoughtseize here, that would be very bad, because then they can snowball the Ragavan. All right, just a land. Hits the treasure. Passes. We draw Restless Cottage. Do we duress is the question. Windswept Heath. Crack Windswept Heath. Forest. I mean, I guess we discard the Restless Cottage, right? Would be the obvious. Yeah, I think we do it. So let's escalate. Kill Ragavan, duress you. Discard Restless Cottage. Oh, they drew a scam piece? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, wow. That is very unfortunate. Okay, so, well, now we might actually be in trouble. Yeah, that is kind of disaster. What a top deck for our opponent. They're on 1 land, but this Ragavan's gonna get them to Sheoldred. Opponent gets in. Ragavan steals a Goyf. Are they gonna play the Goyf? They probably should, because it's huge. Oh, I can't believe they drew that Not Dead after all. We need to draw a Prismatic Ending. That's our best draw. So opponent plays our Tarmogoyf. Overgrown Tomb. Well, we will play Mosswood Dreadknight. Overgrown Tomb tapped. Well, now our plan is Dreadknight blocking the Ragavan. Hopefully our opponent does not draw something else. Attacks with both. I mean, we're definitely blocking the Ragavan. We drop to 7. We drop to 6. Dreadknight goes to the graveyard. Oh, we need a way to kill our own Goyf. Wow, and they draw Fable. Oh, no. Wow, our opponent is running super hot. Okay, that is unfortunate. Liliana, that doesn't do anything here. So Siege Rhino doesn't really do it, right? Like, we can play Siege Rhino, but it doesn't stop this, and we got a Dreadknight. All right, well, this is the moment of truth. This is the moment of truth for Dreadknight. Marsh Flats, crack Marsh Flats, get a Plains. All right, Dreadknight. All right, Dreadknight. Yeah, draw a card. It's a Goyf. Well, okay. Goyf is better than nothing, because it means our Goyf can block their Goyf. Well, let's see what they find. We know this Sheoldred's coming. Oh, I thought we were so good this game. Opponent kept the greediest hand I've ever seen, and it worked out. The problem is, if they go land Sheoldred, we just lose. They persist to grief. I assume this is, they take the Siege Rhino. Yep. Goes attacking, makes a treasure. Well, I mean, we're gonna kill it. We stay at 4. Inquisition, that doesn't do anything. Liliana. Snipe the grief. I mean, we're trying. We are fighting and clawing. Oh, there's still a land away from Sheoldred. Opponent goes attacking. I mean, we got a block. Maybe they drew like a bolt or something. So Tarmogoyfs bounce off each other. Oh, they top... They top deck Bowmasters. Sure. Yeah, I think that is gonna do it. There's even a Reflections of Kiki-Jiki out now. Beseiju. I will say our opponent's running that game was amazing. Wow. Wow. Let's go down to Vindicate for Nile Spellbomb and run it like that. I mean, the good news is we're finally going to be on the play. I can't believe our opponent won that game. I can't believe our opponent kept that hand. That hand is so risky and bad. This is a Richard hand. Thoughtseize into Tarmogoyf. Marsh Flats for Swamp. And Thoughtseize you. So opponent, Grief, Thoughtseize, Fable, Carnosaur. As bad as this is, I almost feel like it's correct to take the Thoughtseize here. If we take the Thoughtseize, we can kind of go aggro, right? We take Thoughtseize, we can play Tarmogoyf, Vindicate a land, and then Siege Rhino in theory. And there's no way they can scam us, since they don't have a black card. Yeah, I hate Thoughtseizing Thoughtseize, but I think it's actually correct here. We got a plan. We'll see if it works. So Thoughtseize to Thoughtseize. Bloodstained Maya, going to pass. Mosswood Dreadknight, play a forest, and run out a Tarmogoyf. There is a pretty realistic chance that we Vindicate a land next turn, I think. Blood Crypt. So the Carnosaur can't really kill the Goyf, because if they discard it, it's a creature in the graveyard. Passes. We still want land number 4 for the Siege Rhino. We draw Scavenging Ooze. Windswept Heath. Hit you with the Goyf. Ooh, do they draw Bowmasters? Blood Crypt. Tapped. All right, no Bowmasters. Opponent drops to 16. Well, we're gonna go with the plan. Windswept Heath, crack it. Get a Temple Garden. Ooh, we can't get a Temple Garden. That's awkward. We should have a Temple Garden in this deck. I think this Horizon Canopy is supposed to be a Temple Garden. Oops. Plains. It doesn't really matter. It would just, an extra green source would be good with Ooze. And let's just Vindicate a land. Gotta squeeze some land destruction in here somehow. We would love to hit a land for Siege Rhino. That would be our best draw. All right, land for Siege Rhino is the best. Otherwise, I guess we're cycling the Dreadknight and trying to hit another land. That does grow our Goyf, which is good. We draw Nile Spellbomb. Draw with Dreadknight. Oh, another Rhino, but no land. Opponent down to 13. Nile Spellbomb, just in case. Well, we know they can play Fable. Blood Crypt, untapped down to 11. The problem for our opponent is that tempo of the Vindicate was pretty bad for them. Like, our opponent's kind of getting low on life. So opponent finds a Goblin. Land? Okay, there's some land. That's good. Down to 8. Well, Marsh Flats, correct. Marsh Flats. Overgrown Tomb untapped. And it is Siege Rhino number 1 time. Get down the Siege Rhino. Down to 5. All right, opponent. Let's see what you can do. Opponent untaps. Like, they really need a Shieldred, right? They can ramp into Grief, but is Grief even good here? I mean, it takes the Siege Rhino, but it's not that good. I wouldn't be surprised to see our opponent discard the Grief, actually. Discards a Carnosaur. Is this just hardcast Grief? I think their best bet would be Shieldred. We have played around Blood Moon very well. These decks do often play Blood Moon somewhere. Opponent combat attacks. I don't even know if we block. I think the answer is actually no. I think we just take it. Blocking lets Lightning Bolt kill Siege Rhino. All right, opponent. Let's see what you got. We know there's a Grief. They need more than that, though. All right, there's the Grief. So Grief can take the Siege Rhino. And opponent passes. Removal? But we can't trigger it. Oh, we can trigger it. I think we go for the win here. So crack Nile Spellbomb. Exile your graveyard. Draw a card. Fatal Push the Grief. And opponent scoops it up. All right, that was Siege Rhino. And also a little bit of Mosswood Dreadknight. Taking down, I mean, Rakdos Scam is still a top tier deck. It's not number 1 anymore. That's Crashing Footfalls. But it is still a top tier deck, even post Fury banning. That is Tarmogoyf, Siege Rhino, Scavenging Ooze. And new edition Mosswood Dreadknight. Partying like it's a decade ago in Modern. Maybe Richard's onto something. Maybe he's onto something. We are trying to figure out if Richard broke Modern 2015 style. Tarmogoyfs and Siege Rhinos. Also Mosswood Dreadknight, the infamous Mosswood Dreadknight deck. This is like an incredibly fair hand. We are in the dark. Tarmogoyf into Liliana is kind of a classic. No 1-mana play though. You know what? I think we try it. We might regret it. This hand might just be too slow without a 1-drop. Always skeptical of hands with nothing to do on 1. Because the risk is like, so we play a tap land, our opponent plays Ragavan, and we cry. That's the risk. Restless Cottage. This deck. All right, opponent, what are you up to? Secluded Glen. All right. Fairies? Are we getting ferried? Well, there's the Thoughtseize. That would have been really nice last turn. Oh, we could Thoughtseize, but now we're doing nothing. Yeah, I think we Goyf. Let's Windswept Heath, crack Windswept Heath. Godless Shrine. Run out the mighty 1/2. Go. The next turn we can Thoughtseize plus Goyf number 2. Or if our opponent taps out for a creature, which it's fairies, so probably not. But if they did, then we could stick a Liliana. All right, opponent, let's see what you're up to, fairies. Crime punishment, eh? Play Marsh Flats. Thoughtseize you. Would like this to resolve, just so we know what we're up against. Drown in the Loch. All right, well, crack this. Grab a Overgrown Tomb, untapped. And go Tarmogoyfs. Tarmogoyf number 2. Hit ya for 3. I mean, the Goyfs are growing. I guess it's better to get the Thoughtseize counter than a Tarmogoyf killed, maybe? More Drown in the Lochs. All right, kills a Goyf. Well, this might mean we get down Liliana. We'll see. Siege Rhino. That's good for the future. Well, 1, 2, 3. Liliana. Do you have Spell Pierce? No. Well, let's take up Liliana. Do we discard the second Lily? Crime punishment could do something eventually. Oh, it's got to be from the opponent's graveyard. Discarding the Lily does grow Goyf. Crime punishment. There is a world where it's good eventually, right? Yeah, we're gonna hold the Lily. Let's discard the Crime Punishment. I feel like Crime Punishment, it's good against rhinos and decks like that. Not as exciting against fairies. Well, hit you with the Goyf. I mean, I feel like we're in not horrible shape. Passes. This could be Snapcaster action, like Snapcaster Drown in the Lock. Play the land. Go to combat attack. If they Snapcaster Drown and unlock the Tarmogoyf, then we get to resolve the Siege Rhino. Wow, opponent's just gonna take it? All right, well, take up Liliana. Discard Liliana. Opponent discards Thoughtseize. I mean, I guess we play the Siege Rhino. I feel like they have Snapcaster. I still really expect Snapcaster, but I don't think we do nothing. All right, Siege Rhino. No Snapcast. Oh my goodness, it resolved. Well, that is spectacular. All right, opponent has a Bowmasters. I mean, they need removal though, right? Oh, double Bowmaster. Okay. Well, opponent goes wide. Opponent's down to one card. They ping Lily a couple times. Our stuff's a lot bigger than their stuff though. Opponent tap land, one card in hand. Passing. We draw Horizon Canopy. Let's play Horizon Canopy. Let's take up Lily. See if they have Cryptic. Okay, just another Bowmaster. So they ping the Rhino. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total power. Well, I mean, I think we just stay aggro. Let's fire up the Restless Cottage with everything. Drown in the Lock. Make a food. I mean, opponent's got to do some blocking, right? Rhino also has Trample. So they got to block Goy for sure. They have to block Restless Cottage. So they're going to kill Restless Cottage, chump Goy. I mean, this puts us down a land, but it also clears up the board, puts our opponent to 1, and we have a Siege Rhino and a Goyf. Wait, is Richard right? Is this deck actually good? Scoobs it up. Okay. That was triple Bowmasters, too. Those Bowmasters did nothing. Crime Punishment. Go up. Collective Brutality. We didn't see that much of our opponent's deck. I assume it's just like a fairy deck or Dimir control deck with fairies. They play the fairy land, right? So it's got to be fairy adjacent at least. Maybe modern decks can just not deal with Siege Rhino. It's funny, like, so in Legacy, eventually you get to the point where your format becomes so degenerate and so focused on stopping these like fast combo decks and dealing with these efficient Ragavan, Dragon Rage Channelers, one-drop creatures that can, dominate the game, that everyone's playing all like the fatal pushes. Everyone's playing this like stuff to combat the fast combo decks, the Force of Wills, the Force Negations, and you get in this meta game where the best decks are so tuned to fight against these hyper efficient decks or combo decks. The decks just like, you play a Siege Rhino and they can't do anything. It's the Nick Fit theory of Legacy. I wonder if we're getting to the point where something similar can happen in Modern, where decks are just so focused on fighting these hyper efficient Modern Horizon style cards that you can just like get them with a Rhino. This ain't fine. Would rather have a Thoughtseize than a Fatal Push probably, but it's fine. It's a nice, I mean, this hand, I guess, when did this come out? 2017? Very much like a 2015 Modern hand. Sleep Cursed Fairy. Sure. Well, we can't kill that for a bit. How worried are we about Stifles? Probably relatively. Yeah, I think we're going to try to crack our fetches. Let's Marsh Flats go. I think we're going to try to crack our fetches because I am a little concerned about the possibility of Tishana's Tidebinder. That's something a flash deck might play. Opponent cracks Polluted Delta. Bitter Blossom. Okay. That's annoying. Well, let's crack this. Godless Shrine tapped. Untap. Collective Brutality. Well, let's Windswept Heath. Crack Windswept Heath for a forest. And run out a Tarmogoyf. How can we do this? So at some point, we're going to have to vindicate this Bitter Blossom. The question is going to be, how do we do it through the interaction? That's the real question. I wonder if maybe Crime Punishment is worth it to get rid of Bitter Blossom tokens and Bitter Blossom. Another Sleep Curse Fairy. They are going to start untapping eventually. We draw another Goyf. Oh, play the Blooming Marsh. This has what, Ward 2? I kind of want to Collective Brutality, Duress, and kill. The other option is try to kill a Sleep Curse Fairy. The other option, I guess, is just try to kill the Bitter Blossom. So this is going to untap in 2 turns. So what are we discarding? The Ooze, I guess? All right, 1, 2. Collective Brutality, 2 modes. Duress you. Kill the fairy token. Actually, we could just Duress, I guess. Actually, do you even care about killing the fairy token? Maybe we just go 1 mode. I really just want to know if our opponent has counters in hand. Killing the Bitter Blossom would be best. Could we just fire off the Vindicate? I guess discarding the ooze also grows the Tarmogoyf. Yeah, all right, back to the original plan. Let's two-mode it. Let's go with our instinct. So duress you, kill the fairy, discard the scavenging ooze. Opponent. All right, they got a fatal push. Well, that's unfortunate. We will take the drown in the lock. For now, the coast is clear to kill the bitter blossom. Our opponent does have Sheoldred's Edict, and then Engineered Explosives isn't that good. They draw land, play it tapped, go to combat, pass. We draw Thoughtseize. So we can Thoughtseize the Sheoldred's Edict and play a Goyf. We can also just Vindicate the Bitter Blossom, be done with it. These things are going to start untapping. Yeah, let's Thoughtseize. Take the Edict. Goyf number 2. Go. So opponent has Engineered Explosives, which can blow up the Goyf, but would also blow up the Bitter Blossom. We can Fatal Push a Sleep Curse Fairy if we have to. Opponent combat. Gets in, hits us. Gonna be close. This is gonna be a close game. All right, there's the explosives on 2, sure. We draw another Siege Rhino that we can't currently cast. And I think we just have to Fatal Push one of these Sleep Curse Fairies. Oh, we really need a land. We need a land for the rhinos. These rhinos have been so good, but we need a land to get them down. I think the rhino would let us win the race, especially 2 rhinos if we can get them down. Down to 9. Opponent plays a land. Passes. Oh, that's the worst land. Well, Tarmogoyf, go attacking. Well, I think we have to blow up the Bitter Blossom. This does clear the way for our opponent to EE away our Tarmogoyf, but all right, Blooming Marsh. Up to you, Siege Rhino, up to you. Do you resolve? Opponent blows up the Goyf. Well, is Siege Rhino good enough? Does our opponent draw counters? Opponent land, passes. All up to these Siege Rhinos. Opponent hits us for 4 down to 5. And, doesn't seem like another EE. Okay, another explosives on 2. That's actually fine. That's fine. Now we just trust that our Siege Rhinos carry, and we'll see if it works. 1, 2, 3, 4. Siege Rhino number 1. So we go back up to 8, opponent goes to 9, and we get a Rhino. We need the second one. We need the second one to resolve. Opponent untaps. Is Rhino gonna steal this? Is Rhino gonna steal this? Opponent gets in with both, hits us. Down to 5 again, or down to 4. Passes. We draw a Dreadknight. Well, go to combat. Get in with the Rhino. The question is, did our opponent top deck a counter? If they counter the Rhino, they win. If they do not have a counter, then we win. I'm pretty sure that's the math. Was hoping to draw land so we could Inquisition first, but there's no other play here, right? Yeah, I mean, Siege Rhino. Did you top deck? Wow, they did. Wow. Opponent had 1 turn to top deck and they did. Oh, that is unfortunate. Well, maybe we go back up these crime punishments. I can't believe they top decked it. Brutal. Yeah, let's try something like that. All right, we're on the play for game number 3. Well, I mean, I guess Siege Rhino is beatable. You just gotta be able to counter it on the way down. I like that we potentially get a quick Liliana. Well, Thoughtseize you. Dress down, Spell Stutter Sprite, double Sleep Curse Fairy. Yeah, I think we just take the Spell Stutter. Get down to Mosswood Dreadknight. Hopefully Liliana can clean up the Sleep Curse Fairies. Yeah, there's a Sleep Curse Fairy. Opponent passes. We draw Windswept Teeth. Yeah, let's crack this for a forest, thin the deck. Run out Mosswood Dreadknight. All right, Mosswood, let's see if you're as good as... Richard said this is Dark Confidant mixed with Bloodbraid Elf, so let's see. Let's see if Mosswood lives up to the hype. I think that's mostly on turn 4, where you can, like, draw with it and then play it, but... Opponent, Island. Ooh, gonna pass. Does that mean our opponent drew a counter? Maybe. Oh, we draw even more lands? That's awkward. I guess they also could have top decked a Bowmasters. That would also be bad. Oh, they did draw Bowmasters. Okay. So opponent's gonna snipe and then block. So Mosswood goes to the graveyard. Well, I think we play a swamp. Liliana. Up Liliana. I don't know. That Bowmasters was a good draw. That does punish our Dreadknight. It'd be nice if we could draw like a Fatal Push or something. Some way to get rid of the Bowmasters so we're not making a body when we Dreadknight. We will discard the Overgrown Tomb. All right, opponent pitches a Subtlety. Well, we passed the turn. Oh, we do really need to Mosswood Dreadknight, even if it's going to grow this or trigger this Bowmasters. Gets in at Liliana. Down to 3. We draw even more lands. Well, let's tick down Liliana. Ooh, they sacked the Bowmasters. Interesting. In that case, we've drawn so many lands this game. Play the Plains. Dread Whisper. Getting our grind on. Okay, and then... All right, pass the turn. Opponent gonna untap the... just gonna cast the Dress down, sure. So that lets our opponent untap their Sleep Curse Fairy for a turn. Could really use some non-lands, that would be sweet. Oh, it didn't even untap. Oh, I guess it's still got the stun counter. All right, another Sleep Curse Fairy. Comes into play untapped. Loses the Dress down. Yeah, it's kind of a combo. Oh, there's a Siege Rhino. There is a Siege Rhino. Well, Liliana, discard Windswept Teeth. Opponent discards Bitter Blossom. Well, go to combat, get in with the Dreadknight. Opponent takes the beats. Play Marsh Flats. Draw with Dreadknight. All right, here's the counter. Yup. Well, we will pass the turn. Can we beat two Sleep Curse Fairies? One of them has to attack the Liliana. All right, opponent, are they going to be greedy? They might have to both attack Liliana. All right, opponent's going to risk it. If we had a Fatal Push here, we'd really blow them out, but unfortunately we don't. Oh, opponents, they're actually thinking about it. Okay, they're both going to go Lily for the Fatal Push purposes. So Lily down. Crack the fetch. Overgrown Tomb tapped. Well, let's see how many counters they got. Liliana, the last hope. Get in with the Dreadknight. This is very interesting. So we could play Liliana, tick down to get another Dreadknight, or we could just slam the Siege Rhino. We really need the Siege Rhino to resolve. I think we're gonna lead on the Lily. Do you have another counter? Tick down Liliana. Get back a Dreadknight. Play a Dreadknight. Our Dreadknights versus your fairies. Let's see who wins. Oh, not a Bowmaster. Well, I think our opponent probably doesn't have a counter. I think Liliana is probably good enough to counter. Okay, Sheoldred's Edict to get rid of a Dreadknight. For now. Well, now we kind of want to hit a land. And our opponent not to have a Bowmaster and face are going to ignore the Lily for now. So opponent hits us down to 9. We draw Marsh Flats. Marsh Flats. Crack it. Get a Swamp, drop to 8. Oh, how worried are we about a Bowmaster? Let's go to combat. Attack with the Dreadknight first. Man, this is going to come right. This is a very Jund style game. This is going to be the 50-50 right down to the end. Oh, we really need this Rhino to resolve. 1, 2, 3, 4. Siege Rhino. All right, opponent has a Subtlety pitching a Subtlety. This is actually kind of okay though, because opponent's out of cards. Actually, is this okay? We put it on top. So if we Dreadknight, we go to 7. We draw the Siege Rhino. The other option is Liliana, tick up on one of these to take less damage. Let the Dreadknight go. So if we go to 7, our opponent hits us to 1. We Rhino back up to 4 and then die. I feel like this decision kind of makes the entire game. So if we go to 7, we have to top deck removal. Yeah, I think we have to do it this way. So we tick up, we pay the ward. Opponent could still top deck. Hopefully they don't. Yep, so we pay the ward. The Dreadknight goes to waste. Opponent goes to combat. Well, let's see if they top deck a counter. We know we have the Siege Rhino coming. All right, let's see if they top decked. Opponent passes. We draw Rhino. Oh, what a close game. This game is so ridiculously close. So our plan is we play Rhino, do the same thing with Liliana, stay alive one more turn, and then win on the backswing. That's the hope, at least. It all really depends on what our opponent drew. Like, there are top decks that just beat us, like a counter. Our removal spell would also be annoying. Wow, gonna untap the Sleep Curse Fairy. Interesting. Wow, I was not expecting that even a little. Okay, so Dreadknight goes to the graveyard. We get to play Siege Rhino. Drain you. So I think we just Dreadknight. Why our opponent can't Bowmasters. Oh, another Lily. And then tick up. No targets. All right. Did we find a way to come back? Opponent untaps. They got their fairy. Can they deal with a Rhino? One card in hand. They play a land. Are we going to win this? Are we going to win this? Did we find the line? These Dreadknights. Richard might actually be right about Dreadknight. Dreadknight is keeping us in this game. Like, this is full on the card advantage from Dreadknight is what is keeping us in this opponent combat. What are we doing with the fairy? I mean, between Liliana, okay, they're gonna hit the Lily, sure. I mean, if we top deck Siege Rhino, Liliana, let's just go to combat attack. See what our opponent does. Opponent's going to take it to 2. Well, 1, 2, 3. Liliana. Tick down Liliana. Get rid of the fairy. Play the Dreadknight. Pass the turn. I think we did it. I think we did it. I think we found the way. I think we got there. Siege Rhino Dreadknight. Oh, we had to let that Dreadknight go. That turn where we decided to let the Dreadknight go, that was the turn. Our opponent actually said, can you play fast? You got 0 cards in hand. Why are you wasting 2 minutes thinking? That was the turn. Like, we had to think through all the damage, what was going to happen over the course of the next couple of turns. And I think we made the right choice that actually let us win the game. If we chose the other choice of drawing with Dreadknight, I'm pretty sure we end up losing. Well, this was, I mean, Siege Rhino gets the glory, but this was a testament to how good Dreadknight is. Like, Dreadknight did some serious work here. It drew like 3 or 4 extra cards, the recursive body, like, opponent had to block with one of their fairies, and then we got it back, and it's still attacking. I don't see how our opponent's deck wins from here. They have 2 cards in hand. There's no way they can burn us out. Dreadknight power. Dreadknight power. This deck's sweet. Maybe Richard was right. Did Richard actually break modern with this super, oh boy, this hand. So turn 1, discard. Turn 2, you know what? I think we keep this. This is fine, right? This is fine. Turn 1, discard. Turn 2, hopefully we draw something to do on turn 2. And then turn 3, planeswalkers. I guess the one awkward part about this is we do technically only have 1 black, so counterspell, Dovin's Veto, Eladrami's Call. What? These 2 cards make sense together. Eladrami's Call. What is happening? All right, well, I mean, we'll take the 1 non-counter spell, and then I guess we just try to play through the counters. Well, that would make it even nicer to draw a 2-drop here. I mean, I guess we're in a good spot, right? If we draw land, it gives us a double black for our planeswalkers. If we don't draw land, pretty good chance we draw something that we can play, because we already have a big chunk of our 3s in hand. Misty Rainforest for our opponent. Passes. We draw. Okay, actually, that was the worst possible draw. Yeah, Richard. Crime punishment, Richard. I know it's a necessary evil because of rhinos or whatever, but still. Crime punishment. Come on now. Opponent gets as far as headquarters. I guess if we get to 8 mana, we can blow up a leyline binding. Got him. Well, let's see what we draw. Fatal Puff. Wow, we are drawing the exact cards we do not want to be drawing. All right, well, let's get this Vindicate countered. That gets a counter out of our opponent's hand. Oh, we really need that black source. Opponent gets a snow-covered island and counter spells? Vetoes. All right. Gonna hold on to the counter spell because it hits more things. All right, well, come on, black mana. Please, please, please. Yeah, Fatal Push into Crime Punishment were not our best draws. Not at all. Opponent passes. Black mana. All right, that's black mana. So let's 1, 2, 3. I mean, let's play Last Hope. Hopefully that's good enough to beat out the counter. All right, so we got the counter out of hand. That's good. I mean, if we had to choose, we'd rather have Liliana the Veil resolve. That's the better of our 2 planeswalkers. Opponent, snow-covered island. Oh god, the One Ring. Okay. Well, I think we're in trouble. I think we might be in trouble. Yeah, I mean, opponent's at 18 with a One Ring. We don't have a way to answer the One Ring. Vindicate. Well, okay, so I guess our game plan, this is not a realistic game plan, but I guess our game plan is to try to ultimate Liliana. The problem is our opponent's going to draw so many cards that in practice, I think we're going to lose this one. Another One Ring! Oh, God. All right, we're going to have to look at our sideboard and see. I know there's Collector Roof, so I guess Collector Roof is probably the answer. Deputy of Detention. Well, let's Inquisition you. Wall of Omens, double Ephemerate. Ugh. So even if we try to kill the Deputy, it's not going to work. So I guess we take the Wall of Omens. Yeah, the One Ring's kind of a busted card, isn't it? It is kind of a busted card. I guess we'll Vindicate a land. The One Ring is so hilariously overpowered. I got to look up current modern metagame percentage. How high is the One Ring now that they banned the other degenerate card Advantage Engine? It's got to be up there. All right. Popular card staples. Where we at, One Ring? Where we at? All right. 23% of decks. 3.8 copies per deck. 10th most played card in the format. Sounds about right. Yeah, I mean, there's just... Look at this. Just look at this. Opponent. Hey, One Ring number 3. Gonna Legend Roll 'em away. Because, opponent was afraid they might take some damage. But no, we're not gonna do that. We draw Marsh Flats. Well, Marsh Flats. Crack Marsh Flats. Boom, thin the deck. We'll grab a Swamp. We're going to Fatal Push this Deputy of Detention. Get back our Liliana. Now, do you also have Force? All right, take up Liliana, make a discard. No, opponent's gonna draw another card. Yeah, the One Ring, so it's a silly card to even exist. There's no way that I still believe it's gonna get banned. I feel like we went with the light bannings. Modern though, hopefully. Remember that big speech Wizards gave about Pioneer about like, oh, we're gonna yeah. I mean, this is so incredibly over. Remember that speech that WotC gave about activating, managing Pioneer more aggressively? Hopefully that goes for Modern as well. Hopefully that also goes for Modern. We'll see if it does. Maybe we're supposed to be necromenting the One Ring. Crime Punishment. That's going to the sideboard as fast as anything. I wonder if we should be playing I wonder if it's worth playing a Triome to get another color for Prismatic Ending, because we can't currently Prismatic Ending a One Ring, unfortunately. Maybe go down like a Liliana, Last Hope. Vindicate seems kind of sketch. The problem with Vindicate is our opponent's playing a bunch of Ephemerates, and paying 3 mana to try to kill something only for it to get Ephemerated seems so bad. Are we really bringing in Necromancer for the One Ring? But our opponent's deck looks like it'd be very underpowered without the One Ring, right? Maybe it's worth it. Go down like an Ooze? Yeah, let's try it like that. All right, so we got Collector Oof and Terra Sunder is cards that can stop us from losing to the One Ring. And I guess the one Necromentia. Oh God, I think we gotta keep this. If we draw one more land, we get to strip our opponent's hand and then stick a Goyf and try to ride it to victory. Well, Inquisition you. Double One Ring in hand, okay. Well, that's an issue, that's an issue. One land, one keep. One land, one keep. Please, land number 2. Siege Rhino. That is like the opposite of a land. Thought sees you. Opponent, gonna crack the Flooded Strand. Temple Garden. No way. Oh, wow. That is actually a game-ending top deck for our opponent. That's unfortunate. We know it's the card they drew too, because we just Inquisition them. Boom, Inquisition. How do you like us now? Take a type. 3 One Rings in hand. Well, apparently this deck doesn't do one land, one keep. Oh, God. 3 One Rings in hand. Land? No. Oh, gee. I'm actually very tempted just to scoop here. Yeah, there's no point in going on. We're going to draw Thoughtseize, Prismatic Ending, Vindicate. Okay, it was going to be 4 more turns until we hit land number 2. I mean, in some sense, that's a little just unlucky, right? Like, the keep was risky, that's for sure. Although, we also kind of low rolled. It was going to take us so many draws to hit land number 2. And our opponent, meanwhile, has 3 One Rings in hand. So there was, yeah. That Veil of Summer was pretty brutal. But our opponent with 3 One Rings, yeah, we're not going to Thoughtseize them all. Well, the 5-0 Dream is dead. I don't know, Richard. I don't know. What do you do about the One Ring? We've done good in non-One Ring matchups, but the One Ring, it just like outgrinds all of our grindiness. Like, yeah, our Mosswood Dreadknight is cute, like our Lilianas are cute, but what happens when your opponent just plays a 4 mana protection for a turn, draws 7 cards for 4 mana, colorless? Like, what happens when that happens? That I don't know if we have an answer for. Yeah, that was a rough one. We are Mosswood Dreadknighting and Siege Rhinoing in Modern. Seeing if Richard managed to break the format with some jank. Oh boy. So this should be what? Colony Garden, probably Yogg, I guess. Kind of wish we were on the play. Do we need to save this to Fatal Push a Yogg? Let's just Windswept Heath go. I think that's fine. We'll draw another fetch. I honestly don't think we're going to be able to hold this all the way for Yogg anyway. We kind of want our opponent to play something... Ooh, Dryad Arbor. Okay, that's killable. That's definitely killable. Ignoble Hierarch. Well, all right. Crack Windswept Heath. Get a Overgrown Tomb untapped. Fatal Push the Dryad Arbor. So they can't get down Yogg yet, right? So we kill the Dryad Arbor. Opponent's gonna get in for 1. So we can play the Tarmogoyf this turn, and then next turn Liliana to snipe a Hierarch? Or draw removal. Restless Cottage. Well, alright, Godless Shrine, untapped. And get down the Tarmogoyf. Seems like this Liliana might do some work here. I'm pretty sure our opponent doesn't have a land, right? You don't play the Dryad Arbor if you have another option. Opponent, Wall of Roots. Delighted Halfling. Oh, they're doing a lot with that one land. Blooming Marsh. Well, play the Blooming Marsh. Get down the Liliana. Snipe the Ignoble Hierarch. Oh, we need more removal. Oh, if they draw land, they can get down Yogg, which is what I'm scared of. For only having one land, they just have so much mana. Like, everything in their deck makes mana about it. No. Well, that's not what we wanted to see. Draws land number 2, which means they can play Yogg, which means we're in trouble. I mean, we do get a redraw, I guess, with Dreadknight. They can't go infinite with Yogg, but they can still, like, generate a lot of value. I don't think you keep a hand unless you can Yogg. And we know they don't have a bunch of lands because they had to top deck land number 2 this turn, so there's a pretty good chance they have it here. I think Yogg is, like, the number 1 deck in Modern. Number 2, it's, like, very high up in the Modern rankings at the moment. Okay, Young Wolf. Oh, no. And then Eldritch Evolution into Yogg. So they sack the Young Wolf, they get the Yogg. Yeah, this deck's pretty good. Oh, they get a Grist. Interesting. So opponent's going to wait. They're not going to go for Yogg. They're going to get a Grist and set up for the long game. Scavenging Ooze. That's actually not bad. Attack the Grist. Is our opponent going to block? I'm surprised they didn't go with Yogg there. Are they going to block with the Young Wolf? Well, 1-2. Let's 1-2. Dreadknight, draw a card. Another Ooze. Well, Overgrown Tomb, go if number 2. And pass the turn. I mean, opponent's down to 2 cards. They do have this Grist, which is annoying. But they don't seem to be in a position where they can combo off with... Well, they mill the Yogg. Where they can combo off with Yogg. And we do have 2 attackers for the Grist. And we can eventually get down the Scavenging Ooze as an extra line of defense. Oh, they just have a Yogg in hand? Oh, Sheoldred, okay. Well, that's an issue. That is definitely an issue. We cannot even attack through that. We need a removal spell. We need to draw a removal spell now-ish. Mosswood Dreadknight. Ugh, not looking its best at the moment. Do we just draw with the Dreadknight? Yeah, we can't get rid of the Grist now. Play the tap land. Oh, we need a removal spell so desperately. Play a Scavenging Ooze. And I guess we just gotta pass and hope we find a removal spell. Sheoldred's too big for our Goyfs at the moment. Opponent untaps. Gains some life. Insect. Hapatra. No attacks. Well, I mean, let's do a little eating with the Ooze. Eat a Yawgmoth. 1, 2, 3. They have enough that they can cord for Yogg. Our opponent lets it go. Well, let's keep on going. Young Wolf. I mean, if you got it, you got it. I don't think there's any reason to bluff here. Yeah, it looks like they have the cord. Now our opponent just goes infinite. Hapatra is infinite with Yogg. Well, turns out that apparently having abilities on your creatures is powerful too. Our Goyfs look good for a minute, but they quickly became much less effective. So Ashiok can shut down the tutoring. Necromentia, I guess, has to probably come in. This is a matchup where Cursed Totem's really good. We don't have a Cursed Totem, though. I could see Crime Punishment maybe being worth it. Vindicate's probably our sketchiest removal spell. It's really slow, and our opponent can combo at instant speed, as we saw there. Liliana looks awesome. I could see Kaya being worth it. Kaya's not good graveyard hate. So Ooze is good against the graveyard. We might need a Nile Spellbomb. Yeah, let's go on one Liliana the Veil. All right, we're on the play for game number 2. We know what we're up against. We're up against Yogg. You know what? I actually think we keep this. So there is risk. The risk is that we get Thought Seized. So the idea of this hand, even though it looks super jank, we can Necromentia to get rid of the Yoggs, and then hopefully Wrath with this Crime Punishment. Sand does not look like a hand that you would normally want, but assuming our opponent doesn't have like Thoughtseize interaction, I think it can actually work. The Yogg deck with no Yoggs is much less scary. Let's Marsh Flats, get some white mana, pass the turn. Just don't Thoughtseize us. Our entire game plan is relying on our opponent not Thoughtseizing us. Since we're on the play, we should be fast enough, right, to get this down before they can ramp into it. Overgrown Tomb, untapped, and Mana Dork number 1. Well, crack the Marsh Flats, get a Godless Shrine tapped. I mean, drawing something to play this turn would also be fine. We would not complain about a Fatal Push or something. Or land. All right, Blooming Marsh, go. Come on, don't Thoughtseize us. No Thoughtseizing. And Agatha's Soul Cauldron. That's fine, that still gets blown up by the Crime Punishment. Well, okay. Game plan it's working. It is working for the moment. Wow, even more lands. We do need to stop drawing lands, because after we execute our game plan, we do need to kill our opponent eventually. Well, Necromentia, name Yogg. So at least we don't have to deal with that. So get rid of the Yogg. Get rid of the Yogg. Do they even have Thoughtseizes in their deck? No. So what do we need to worry about? They have one Shieldred, which I guess they can get. They're going to get a zombie. They have a Grist, or they'll be able to get eventually. All right, well, Yogg's down. Step 1 complete. Opponent gets a zombie. Pass the turn. And then I guess we'll see what our opponent does. If they play the Grist, we probably have to wait one more turn. Because we do need the hard sweep here. Like, sweeping everything but Grist is not worth it. All right, there's a Grist. Oh, it's not going to sweep away the Grist either way. Okay, that's annoying. Well, now I guess we sweep and try to figure out a way to beat the Grist. All right, well, I mean, we got to do it, right? We have to. So we crime punishment, put our opponent down to just the Grist, and then go from there. All right, play the Swamp. So it was almost perfect. Almost. The Grist sneaking through is a problem. No! Oh, this is way worse than I thought. It's mana value X, not X or less? Oh, crap, why are we playing this? Oh, no, this is so bad. Oh, I just assumed this was X or less. Oh, now I think we just lose. Oh, yeah, crime punishment's bad. Oh, God, that's bad. I guess we play Tarmogoyf. Crime punishment on 0? So it gets rid of the tokens and the Dryad Arbor. We pass the turn. Oh yeah, crime punishment's not actually that good, is it? It's good at sniping exactly rhinos. I think that's about all it's good for. It's good at blowing up tokens, basically. Much less good at doing anything else. Opponent. Yeah, the Soul Cauldron's annoying. Oh yeah, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. Even with no Yogg, like this Grist is still down. We need to draw some card advantage or something. We just have nothing going on here. And our opponent can use Grist to kill our stuff. Oh, they draw another Young Wolf. And opponent gonna sack a Young Wolf to kill our Tarmogoyf. I mean, it is unfortunate. The old Modo thing. You start with a 5-lander and you just draw land every turn, which we have done pretty expertly this game. I guess we drew one Tarmogoyf, right? So that's sort of something. Liliana. Tick up Liliana. I wonder if our deck should be playing Grist. Grist is very strong. Discard one of our many lands. Opponent discards a Soul Cauldron. Well, Overgrown Tomb. Untap. This is all we can really do. It's still not good, but blow up the Soul Cauldron. But now we're like out of cards, and our opponent has a big board. Oh, I thought it was going to work. We got rid of the Yogg and we're still going to lose. We need to draw Siege Rhino. No, we need to draw an answer to Grist and then Siege Rhino, I guess. Yeah, Grist is really... the repeatable removal, it's so good. No, we're going to lose to Yogg without the Yoggs. That's an embarrassment. Bonnet, Overgrown Tomb. Yeah, I'm not sold on crime punishment. You got to really be expecting to play against Rhinos a lot. I wonder if it might be a better sideboard card than main deck card. Like, there are things that it does well, which is snipe Rhinos. If it was X or less, it would be a legit good card. Like, that would be a real Magic card. Unfortunately, it's not X or less, so it's not that real of a Magic card. It was printed 20 years ago. It's one of those. If it was printed today, I'm sure it would exile everything. Like, do we even play this? Like, we know if we play the Goyf, they're just going to take down the Grist and kill it. So there's probably no point. Yeah, we're kind of just locked under this Grist. Oh, we started off so good with this deck, too. Takes up the Grist, makes an insect, mills a Fatal Push, gets in for 3, leaves back the Young Wolf for some reason. Opponent passes. We draw. Come on, deck. We need something good. I don't even think Siege Rhino does. All right. Goyfs to the slaughter. Oh, Tarmogoyf. Boom. 10 power on the battlefield. Before it all dies. Are they just going to court out Shieldred? Yeah, that one of fun of. We got rid of the Yoggs. Shieldred's still around, though. We're definitely figuratively dead. So there's a Shieldred. The problem is they can just kill... Oh, we drew 3 Goyfs this game, and the Goyfs have been horrible. They've been horrible. Lands and Goyfs. Not good enough. The problem is we didn't draw the Dreadknight. That's the problem. If we draw Dreadknight, this would have went way differently. Wall of Roots. Also, we read Crime Punishment and decided it should not be in the main deck. Opponent gonna take down Grist. Grist is ridiculous. Grist is so good. Activates Wall Roots. Yeah, I mean, there's no card in our deck that gets us out of this situation, right? We have a lot of 1-for-1s. We got some like sneaky card advantage, but there's just no card in existence that's like, hey, now we are not dying to this. To get a Scavenging Ooze. Yeah, opponent's just doing random things at this point. Well, we need to draw, I don't even know, a card that doesn't exist. How about a swamp? All right, GG. Whew. Well, okay. It all comes down to this. We started off 2-0. Looking pretty good for Mosswood Dreadknight and Siege Rhino in Modern. Thinking that Richard might have broke it. But then we lost 2 in a row. Can we win this last round and get the very classic Abzan 3-2? You know what? This looks like a good hand. We're going to keep this. Seeing as a nice, I mean, we need to hit another land or two, but I mean, Thoughtseize into Tarmogoyf into Liliana, that's the Jun dream. Plus we got our Mosswood Dreadknight and a Siege Rhino. So it's like everything we want, minus maybe a removal spell. Overgrown Tomb. And Thoughtseize you. What are you up to about it? What are you up to? I am very scared of this matchup. I think we take the One Ring. Pass the turn. You know what I want to draw more than anything after trashing it last round is actually the Crime Punishment. Crime Punishment to blow up the Urza Saga would be very, very helpful. Found it. There's the Urza Saga. And passes. We draw Overgrown Tomb. Well, Marsh Flats. Crack it. Godless Shrine. Untapped. I mean, we're going to run out the Goyf. We know the Primeval Titan's in hand. We know it. We need to stop the Amulet somehow, which is coming next turn. Opponent takes up the Saga. Mycosynth Gardens. Passes. Marsh Flats. Well, Overgrown Tomb. Untapped. Liliana the Veil. Tick it up. Oh, they have the bounce land in hand too. Well, we'll discard the Siege Rhino that I don't think does enough. Oh, Cultivator Colossus discarded. I've heard that this is a tough matchup. But now our opponent gets double Amulet, plays a Primeval Titan, and we die. That is the power of Amulet and Primeval Titan. So opponent, Amulet, copies Amulet, has a bounce land in hand. That bounce land makes 6 mana. Or actually, no. So the bounce land lets them play Dryad of the Ilson Grove, that then lets them play the Primeval Titan, right? So makes mana. So they make 4 mana, picks up the bounce land. They still need 1 more of something, right? Dryad costs 3. The bounce land makes 4. So they go down to 1. So they still need 1 more extra land drop effect, I think, to Laria West. All right, so opponent's not going to go for it this turn. Okay, taps, untaps. Crime Punishment. We need Crime Punishment. Summoner's Pact. Oh. Well, that's a new draw. Summoner's Pact for Grazer gets them to the 6 mana. That gets them to the Primeval Titan, which makes us die. Yeah. Well, sometimes you die on turn 3. We played a 6/7 for 2. That's pretty cute. It's cute. We played a 6/7. I assume they just hasten the Titan and kill us, right? That's how they do. Well, cannot answer the amulets, unfortunately. Well, let's see what we got in the sideboard. We're gonna need to win 2 in a row against the deck that we never beat. So hasten the Primeval Titan, sure, and we die. Well, that's what Amulet Titan does. Necromantia comes in for sure. I mean, I guess Ashiok could theoretically stop our opponent from tutoring up the Primeval Titan or the Amulet. Or the Amulet. Well, let's go down the Liliana the Last Hope for sure. Fatal Push seems kind of medium. Scavenging Ooze does literally nothing. Crime Punishment does do something this matchup. Maybe between hitting Urza Saga, maybe that's enough to make it worth it. You get Rhinos and Urza Saga. I wasn't thinking, we were talking about it earlier, I wasn't thinking about it getting Urza Saga. That is an upside. Is Collector Roof worth it? Collector Roof stops the One Ring. Doesn't stop Amulet. If we can find room, it's probably still worth it. Is Prismatic Ending even worth it? Probably not in meaningful numbers. It can't hit lands, can't hit Primeval Titan, can't hit the One Ring. Yeah, let's bring in the oofs. I guess this stops them from, well, not really. It does stop them summoning summoners pacting, right? Run it like that, I guess. I mean, we gotta keep it. We got the Vindicate. Vindicate can blow up the Lancer, the Amulet, Blooming Marsh, and Inquisition you. Oh god, they just have 2 amulets in hand. So we can take the Dryad now, and then Thoughtseize Primeval Titan next turn, and our opponent just gets 2 amulets. The other plan is what? We take an amulet, and then Thoughtseize the Primeval Titan, and our opponent still has the Dryad, but that dies to some things. But they still have an amulet. There's no way around. Oh, we take an amulet. We Thoughtseize Primeval Titan, and try to Vindicate the amulet? Oh, they have the Mycosynth Gardens too. So we're never going to keep them off the amulets. All right, well, take the Dryad. Yeah, we're going to go with plan A. The Mycosynth Gardens is what does it. That means there's just no way we can Thoughtseize away all the amulets. So we have to Thoughtseize away the finishers. It's unfortunate. They have essentially a triple amulet draw. So we have to try to Thoughtseize the finishers and hope we draw the Crime Punishment is what we really need to draw. Windswept Teeth. Well, we will Thoughtseize you. All right, opponent drew another Dryad of the Ilson Grove. The card that we Thoughtseize. Well, we'll take the Primeval Titan out of necessity. Oh, we really need to top deck Crime Punishment. Gotta top deck Crime Punishment. We have like 2 turns, maybe. We gotta hope. We have 2 of them in the deck. Are they near the top? That would let us steal this win, potentially. If our opponent just drew a Primeval Titan, I'm gonna cry. They already drew the card we Thoughtseize turn 1 in the Dryad. Make some mana. Dryad of the Ilson Grove. Even more amulets. We draw a land that doesn't really do anything. Windswept Youth. Crack it. Get a Plains. So many amulets. Vindicate the Dryad of the Ilson Grove. Not looking good. Pout it. Urza Saga. Valakut. Untaps. Well, we draw an Ashiok. Well, that's Marsh Flats. Playing Ashiok. This keeps the Urza Saga from tutoring. Unfortunately, our opponent can still make big constructs, which are still an issue. Construct. They might just double construct here. So we get to fizzle the Urza Saga, but they still have double amulet. Yeah, opponent, double constructs. So this means that Ashiok's gonna die. It did fizzle the Saga though. Opponent, bounce land. Yep. Taps on taps. Amulet number 3. Literally all of them. All right, opponent. Every amulet. That makes the construct big enough to kill the Ashiok. Also big enough to get through a Siege Rhino. Wow, that's awkward. The Ashiok kind of did nothing then, didn't it? Because they just drew every amulet anyway. Oh, that is unfortunate. I mean, we can besage you an amulet. Got him. How do we even realistically do this? We probably still need Crime Punishment. Do we just draw with Dreadknight? I mean, we can besage you the bounce land, but that's not exciting because we're losing to these constructs. Yeah, I mean, I think we literally have to hit Crime Punishment. Like, we play Siege Rhino and do nothing and die? Jump block? While our opponent has triple amulet? Yeah, I mean, come on, Mosswood Dreadknight. You're the reason we're playing this deck. Can you show us a Crime Punishment? A Vindicate. I mean, we can besage you, I guess, a Construct. That doesn't feel good either. Opponent, bounce land. I mean, I don't think we can afford to blow it up. Yeah, we just gotta hope they didn't top deck. Oh, come on. Did you really top deck too? Really, opponent? Amulet Tron, and then also the top decking? Yeah, they top deck Summoner's Pack, Primeval Titan, and dead. I don't know what to say about this deck. On one hand, so we finished with a 2-3. Obviously not I mean, that's a very Jund record. I assume you get a lot of 2-3s, 3-2s as you grind it out. This was really like a tale of two halves of our league. So our first 2 matches, we really got to see the deck perform pretty well. We played against Rakdos, and then we played against Fairies. 2 kind of like fair-ish decks. And our power of like Mosswood Dreadknight to draw a ton of cards, Siege Rhino to drain our opponent, it all worked really well, and we're able to just like grind our opponent down very effectively. The deck felt like kind of insane, and we're wondering, did Richard actually break it? Then we went on further in the league, played against some One Ring decks, and those went a little bit worse. Those like super unfair Primeval Titan, like what do you do about that? Like I think we have some cards like the crime punishments, like the Vindicates, that are supposed to be like good in that matchup. We can blow up our opponent's lance. We can blow up the amulet. But it turns out like we felt very fair in those matchups where like our opponent has these draws where we saw one in that last game. Our opponent drew 3 amulets. Like, we had Thought Seizes, they had 2 amulets in hand. We Thought Seize one, they drew like every amulet in the deck. Like, what do you do? Like, they have these draws where, I draw the right things, and I just kill you on turn 3. Same with, like, Yogg. I draw the right things, I combo off with Yogg, I kill you on turn 3. And then you back it up with the One Ring that is just, like, the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card. Like, I just, like, no matter what goes wrong, I just draw 7 cards. I got protection for the turn. So they have these free win draws. Our deck very much does not have that. We got a Fighting Claw in traditional 2015 Jun style to eke out every advantage, every point of damage along the way. We don't have any draw that's just going to be like, accidentally I drew my busted card, so I guess I win this one. We don't have anything like that in the deck, which I think is the biggest difference between our deck and some of the like Modern Horizons 3 decks. I will say though, the deck felt solid. Like I was legit impressed with Siege Rhino. It felt really good. At the same time, like, it's back to that Tale of Two Leagues thing where, like, the first half, it felt so good. Mosswood Dreadknight felt so good. But then when you're staring down, like, Primeval Titan on turn 3, do any of our cards actually matter? Do they even have text on them in that context? So I felt like the cards performed really well. Mosswood Dreadknight really impressed me. Siege Rhino really impressed me. Crime Punishment, I'm not sure if I'm sold on this being a main deck card or not. There were some matchups where we drew it and we really didn't want to draw it. There were other matchups where we really wanted to draw it and we didn't find it. To blow up like the Urza Saga or whatever. I don't know if it's like, I'm torn. I'm torn on Crime Punishment in the main. I think overall, if you want to play some 2015 Modern, and this is, like, look at this deck. Yeah, sure, you get, like, Prismatic Ending, Mosswood Dreadknight, but if you want to try to, like, party 2015 style in Modern, I think this is a pretty good way to do it. And you got some really cool cards that it's just nostalgic and fun to play with, like Siege Rhinos and Scavenging Oozes, that you don't see much anymore. The deck definitely feels competitive. Just be warned, if you're used to, like, current Modern decks that all have this like, I accidentally scammed you. Like, we talked about this on the podcast a while ago. In some sense, every tier Modern deck is scam. They don't all scam in the way that scams, but if you look in the Modern meta, pretty much every top tier deck has some sort of like, I accidentally win draw. I accidentally made a bunch of rhinos on turn 3. I accidentally triple Thought Seized you by turn 2. I accidentally killed you with a Primetime on turn 3, or Yawgmoth on turn 3, or a Karn on turn 3, or a huge graveyard full of creatures from Living In on turn 3, or a huge Colossus Hammer creature on turn 3, or a huge Arcbound Ravager. Like, almost every Modern deck has this get out of jail free, I accidentally win, free win effect. So if you're looking for that, this is definitely not the deck for you. Like, you don't want to be playing this deck if you're hoping to get those, hey, I just drew the right cards and there was nothing you can do about it wins. On the other hand, if you want to grind and fight and scratch and claw and generate little bits of value here or there and hopefully in the end win like 51% of the time, I think this deck is actually a pretty sweet option for Modern. Plus, like, who doesn't like winning with Siege Rhinos and Tarmogoyfs and so forth? And at least if you lose in style because you lost with a Siege Rhino. So did you even really lose? Like, if your opponent beats you with a Primeval Titan, but you're playing Siege Rhinos, who's the real winner there? But anyway, that is Richard's ridiculous 2015 Modern deck. Honestly, I think it went about how we expected. I was hoping for the dream of like getting a 5-0, but winning about 50% of the time, that's very Jund of us. So anyway, that's been Richard's attempt to break Modern with Mosswood Dreadknight and Siege Rhino. That's been our Much Abrew for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon.